Alright, what's up guys, and welcome to the first of hopefully many brand new Rocket League analysis videos. Woohoo! Um, and today's video we're going to be doing, I believe it, Chef 1, Diamond 3, something along those lines, I don't remember. We're going to be analysing both these people. We're going to do two separate videos, upload two separate videos. And don't forget, if you want one of these yourself, I'll link the Patreon in this, and you can organise to get an analysis video done of your own. The first 10 Patreons, which I believe there's 8 left, will well, actually technically 9 left. They'll get their first month. They'll get they'll get double of what they pick. So anyway, we get stuck in. So we won't talk about how you just missed a boost on your very first kickoff of the game. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. The first thing I want to pick at is this right here. Now, this guy touched the ball, and the enemy was on the wall there. So you want to take a moment to analyze, like just very quickly analyze what could happen in this position. Now there's a cone of attack, a cone of action, I guess, for anyone that touches the ball at any point. And that cone could be larger or shorter depending on where the ball is. Now, this guy's on the wall here, and that guy can't touch the ball again, which means that only that guy or no one can touch the ball. Both of those situations mean that the ball is going to come into the middle of the field 99 times out of 100 unless that guy touches it against the wall. If he touches it against the wall, then it's not actually dangerous. So here, you definitely want it to be turning infield. However, you did turn infield, but you rushed your touch. Instead of trying to put this on target, you tried too hard to just hit it, which didn't actually lead anywhere and ended up causing you to miss because the ball was coming higher than you were going fast. That's another mistake there, this double commit. If your enemy is in the corner, you want to try your best not to go for the ball. You want to give them the time and the space they need to do whatever the fuck they're going to do, because they might end up passing it out to you. It might be a gorgeous pass, but if you're not there for it, it's a useless pass. And they're definitely not there for your pass. So if they ever commit to a corner, just let them commit. Let them do whatever they want. If they get beaten, so be it. At least you're in a good position after that. It was a little bit messy in defensive rotations between you two, but you actually clean that up later on in the game, so it's not such a big deal. In that position as well, the enemy could have gotten to this ball before it even came into a position that was dangerous. So you definitely wanted to be waiting here and staying a bit more grounded. If there's one thing that I can see from your gameplay thus far, it's that you're not very grounded. You're jumping into the air a lot. So the first suggestion that I would make is stay on the ground a little bit more so you have more control over what your car is doing and over what your positioning is. Because this right here, it doesn't end up turning into a goal because these guys fuck each other up straight away, of course, but it does end up turning into a goal after the fact. So another thing that I would suggest is, so in this position you can hear that your teammate's on the right. You know he's on the right because he landed over there and he hasn't crossed over your path. You can't see him on this half of the field. You can see half the field right now. So he's obviously not there, which means you're technically first man. So you can disrupt this as quickly, like very quickly. With that being said, you didn't really do that. You sort of went goal side and then tried to disrupt. But again, you jumped really early, expecting something to happen from him that didn't happen. So I would have suggested in that position getting a little bit closer to him and trying to disrupt, or waiting him out entirely, which is what I personally would have done, is waited him out in his entirety. While no one's any goals up, and just sort of crawled close to him and then stayed grounded. So your teammate's sort of faking there. He's doing his thing. He's living his best life. So this is another position where again you sort of rushed in for something that wasn't good for your teammate. Now your teammate's not back yet. He's not in a position where he can defend anything. Yet you've jumped for this ball to try to stop whatever it is that this guy's capable of doing. However, he's actually really close to the ball, So even though he didn't make a hard beat on you, he definitely could have. So here you definitely want to wait a little bit longer. Again, staying a little bit further back and giving the enemy a little bit more possession. Because you don't have to worry about the enemy having possession. You don't have to take it off them immediately. I know at like the Pro League, it looks like the enemies and almost never have possession, but they actually have a lot more possession than you'd first think. It's not until a little bit later on that it's not until like a couple seconds in that they lose possession. The reason they lose possession is because they've usually made a play by that point. This guy could make a play basically from where he is right now and take a shot on the net. At Grand Champ, he probably would have. Especially after seeing where your teammate is and where you are. Now, at your rank, this isn't a problem for you. So you can actually give the enemies more space, because chances are they'll probably flop anyway. So here you definitely want to give the enemy just a little bit more space, stay a little bit grounded. Even if you fake challenge, then like shadow, and then make a real challenge. That would have been perfectly safe and viable as well. But because you went for a hard commit and like a big beat, which seems to be what you're doing a lot, you are putting yourself out of position and leaving your teammate in some rather rough positions. Here was good. You actually stayed grounded here, but you moved out of net. Now, right here, if you back up a little bit, you're in a perfect defensive position, and chances are no one can actually get past you from there. Yet you sort of crawled out a little bit and got into a tiny bit of a predicament here. And then here, you didn't really do much of anything. you just took the scenic route back to your net-ish. You didn't really commit for a demo, you didn't really commit for a boost steal, you didn't really commit for anything there. You also, now if you're sitting here and you watch the play, in the replay, you can see that you actually had a shot here, because this guy was panicking. He turned around on this ball without any intention of knowing what the fuck he was going to do. He had no idea. So being hit a bat reveal, there's not much you can do in this position if you turn early. You can make a catch and make a play, but to do that you actually have to make the catch first, and the catch takes a little bit of time, like half a second or whatever. Now, if you watch from his perspective, look at where he is. Like, there's no way that he's gonna get this ball to the net. He's not a threat right now, which means you don't actually have to rush it. Now, he still did this anyway for some weird reason. But yeah, you didn't have to actually push this guy. So what I would definitely have suggested was wait a second, see what he tries to do. If he tries to make a catch, good shot. If he tries to make a catch, then you can 50 him. If he tries to make like a bounce dribble touch, you can shoot it. If he does what he did there, you can shoot it. And all of those things will lead into a possible goal. So here, you score a goal. Good from your teammate, good for you. It was a really good beat. It's one of the reasons why you don't go for like back lefts or back right if you can go for if you have a decent kickoff, because then you can just go for a hard win instead. This guy shouldn't have missed. That was really silly of him. He could have waited this one out just a little bit longer, but he decided to go for like this wacky double touch. He didn't really need to go for. But this play, you didn't really get much of a say in it. The I'm Asian guy pushed up really hard. Your teammate ended up not being able to account for that as quickly as he would like. Then you end up getting scored on. There's nothing you can really do from that position. Now you were technically in the lead as well, so you didn't even have to make an offensive play. Like, you didn't have to do like a hard left or hard right play. Oh, your teammate gave you a little kiss. Oh, what a guy. So in this position, it's another one of those times where if you had to stay grounded, you would have been safe. This guy, he jumped first. You jumped in retaliation to his jump, but you could see even from the moment you turn around that he was actually closer to the ball and aiming at the ball. You weren't aiming at the ball when he was. You tried to turn as quickly as possible, but it was in retaliation to him. In this position, you want to stay safe. He can take a shot here. He can go for a pass. He can go for any number of things. But what he can't do is do something that is going to, that you can't read. That's one thing that he can't do in this position. He's not close enough to the net to create something that you have to reactively save or reactively defend from, or he can't make some crazy 50 that goes in the net or anything like that. So you want to actually let him do this. You don't want to jump into the air to try to make for some crazy cool montage play dunk, because chances are you just get beat. And he had an entire net to shoot on there as well. So that was it. So in this position, it wasn't a bad turn from you. Your teammate made a mistake there, which was fun. But it wasn't a bad turn from you. You definitely could have been less focused on the enemy and more focused on the ball there. Now, so you landed and you immediately turned inwards to try to take a shot. But considering the amount of boost that you had, I definitely would have just tried to, go for a hard ball touch. But you sort of were a bit conservative with your boost, which is perfectly fine. However, again, don't try to rush your jumps. If you can't jump to make contact with the ball, or at least to make a fake, like a deliberate fake, then try not to jump at all. See, like that position, you didn't jump for that, and now you're in a position where you can actually defend, and you can do whatever you need to do. That was a good clear as well. I thought that was quite impressive, because you had control over that clear. A lot of people just end up flopping those and sending them to fucking Narnia, but you did a really good job there. I personally wouldn't have suggested going for this, because you were in a good position right here. Before you jumped, especially if you had to go on a bit further back. So you're just waiting upfield, you're just sitting there, you're just living your best life, which is fine. You're not doing anything wrong in this position. However, you were in a good defensive position here. If you turn all the way into your net and then turn out of your net, you're in a decent position no matter what this guy tries to do. You don't have to go for this play. I understand the reason for it. The reason was because you were trying to disrupt the enemy. However, he's so far away from the net that you can goal keep anything that he shoots, no matter how fast it is. Also, lol, that guy fucked up so bad. That is the worst thing ever. When your teammate goes and like saves a ball that you could have put on target, as you put it on target. Also, my bad. In this position, it's another time where you could have stayed grounded, because you couldn't put a shot on net there, realistically. Like, unless it was really close to the ground, which is, you would have had to, you couldn't have jumped as early. That was an unfortunate win from the enemy. Now you could have, it's one important thing to think about, and this one I'll analyze, but it's not really relevant because it's the same sort of tip as I'm giving already, and the same thing I'm leading to, regardless. But he is facing the ball. You're facing the ball too, but he's really close to the ball, which means that he can still get it clear. Now, if he whips or something like that, then so be it. You might have to give up a shot on target because you were focused on your defense. But you definitely don't want to go for stuff like that if you don't have to. This one was unfortunate from your teammate. He tried to make it clear that he sort of rushed his clear, got a bit panicky. If he had pushed that into the corner or faked it and taken it to the other side of the net, would be perfectly safe. But he slammed it into the wall and it turned into a perfect center ball. So that's that's a piece of advice for just in general. Something that you want to try to remember of your own gameplay. Is try not to put balls in compromising positions. Don't put your balls in compromising position, folks. But yeah, no, that's definitely one thing that you want to be wary of, is not recentering the ball. Now here you went for this read. I have no quarrels with doing this, because there's no way to learn to do stuff like this unless you're practicing it, and you're gonna miss a lot while you do practice it. So it's fine. Here your team went for a pinch, bounced off the ball, which is very impressive, but your touch didn't really lead anywhere. You still had passed it back to them, and it didn't do much. So I definitely would have either taken it back into position or absolutely boomed it and stayed back. Now you can make plays like what you did. For example, so you do this and you just absolutely slap it full field, but then stay back, let them go for a touch, make it a bit of a ping pong game. Let them go for a touch and then push that ball again, aggress that ball again, Because right where it was in the corner, it wasn't really in a compromising position. This was a bit of a mechanical whiff. See, you were in a decent position here. You're in a good defensive position, but then you underestimated what your teammate was capable of, what your enemy was capable of doing, and thought that he couldn't take it out into the middle of the field. So this bounce, this whole sort of bit caught you off guard. The problem is, instead of breaking or staying on the ground or following the ball, you jumped. Try not to jump. Try to stay a little bit more grounded, especially if the ball's low. The ball's not going to just magically just like fly over your head most of the time. So you don't actually have to jump for a lot of stuff that's low on the ground. So, you know, that's, you know, just a simple mistake where you didn't really analyze the ball bounce or the cone of attack from the enemy. Also, lol. What is this? Look at this guy, squishy over here, just doing bounces, doing the flippy boys. Practicing his mechanics. Getting his turtle plays. Ooh. Look, we can see exactly what happened here. I don't really have to analyze this too much. Boom, double commit to the corner. Now, both of those touches there from you guys were both passes. Technically speaking, both of them were put the ball in a shootable position. But because both of you did it, there's no one to shoot. So, you know, you ended up having to, and that could have been a goal very, very quickly. It wasn't, luckily, but it definitely could have been. And that happens. Misses happen. There's nothing wrong with misses. Oh, that was a good beat. Oh, he's just flippy flopping everywhere. It's an absolute menace. Oh, good bump. Oh, that should be on. Nice. Obviously, you sort of like, there's a bit of a mechanical whip there from you, but it doesn't really matter because it went in. As long as it went in, it doesn't matter. So there's another time you tried to focus on a loss. Now, I'm sure that ends up with, wow. Whoa, wait a sec. Okay, so you reversed up. Oh, surely he should have gotten that. That's, especially seeing as he flipped. He definitely should have gotten that boost. Got a bit of good fortune there, so we'll take it. Right, now you're into overtime with the 3-3. One thing I want to point out, this ball is in a shootable position from the bounce onwards. Before the bounce, it's not. It is, but the ball's traveling downwards. Now, to make the ball go from downwards and at speed to upwards at speed and accurately is really, really hard. However, when the ball's going upwards, to make it go back downwards with speed is very easy. So you definitely want to take your time with those and wait till the ball bounces first. It's one thing that happens even at Grand Champ is people not respecting what the ball is capable of doing, not respecting the physics of bounces. So you definitely didn't want to jump until after this happened, because that guy jumped early too, and I guarantee you, even without you jumping, he still would have missed, because there's no way he would have read that accurately, especially from where he was. You can just watch his positioning. He's all the way out in the middle of the field. There's no fucking way he can make a decent touch on that. And especially not a touch that like is threatening to the enemy at all. So you definitely want to respect the bounces, even if the enemies don't. You still want to, because that's up to you. Oh, this is unfortunate. So luckily you didn't get punished here. But these positions, these sort of these commits, now they can work out. If you had to put this on target, it wouldn't have been so threatening. But you got to be panicky because you're right underneath the ball. It's very difficult to read those and to figure out where your car is as opposed to the ball, as opposed to the net, and still beat the enemy out and stuff. That was a good win there. You didn't hard commit on the wall, which is smart. You just stole the boost and went back. It was good that you didn't turn on that either. Oh wow. I have to pick at your teammate there. This is a really, really ridiculous way for him to turn. And like he turned directly into you. Now it's unfortunate that you got touched, but good old Octanes just hit everything no matter how high up in the sky they go. He also took his time to turn around. I have to sort of criticize this a little bit because he shouldn't have taken his time to turn around. He should have rushed that turn, especially seeing as he had boost. He definitely should have just absolutely gone for that. Just fucking thrown himself at it. Now, in return, obviously, you bumped him. So, again, you know, a silly mistake here by you. Not that you could see if he was going to recover that well, but you still want to give it the light of day anyway, because the enemy's all the way out there, so it doesn't matter. And instead, you just sort of bumped him, and he ended up nowhere. He used all of his boost just then. Like, you can see how much boost he just used. Alright, so he's still trying to make a play. He has no boost, which I definitely... I'm sort of analysing your teammate more than you here, but I definitely would have suggested that he take this into the corner instead, because he had very little boost. You can see a tiny little bit there from him, but then nothing after that point. And that's because he didn't really have much in the way of boost. He might have had like 20 or 30, but like it wasn't a lot. He went for a 50 here. That's a really unfortunate 50. Oh, that's alright. He threw the ball away. Now you can hear your teammate behind you, so yeah, that was smart. Smart of you to just run away from that a little bit because that's what you wanted to do. Now you can take a shot here full field. That was a good shot. You definitely could have gone for that, and you definitely could have spent a bit less time on player cam. Because if you had been on player cam here, you still had time to turn on the ball and just flip into it and make a boost, a zero boost save. So here, you could have waited this one out. If you just parked here and waited, even if that guy gets it over your head, it's still not going to be like some crazy shot on target that your teammate can't save. You want to trust your teammate there to be able to make a smart play and just wait underneath it. Expect him not to touch it, because again, these are hard to read. Before like Champ 3, most people aren't going to make a decent read on this. Sometimes they won't make, and most of the time they won't make a read at all. So you don't have to account for that, especially not if you have a teammate. If it's like 1v1, then yes, by all means account for it. But don't account for it otherwise. So yeah, what I would recommend is let's put this somewhere in there, partway through the replay. I know, chat. So after analysing your gameplay, a few things that I would recommend. One, stay more grounded, a lot more grounded. Stay on the ground until you can do something with what's in the air. Two, analyze whether you're or not your first or second man. If you're first man, then aggress the ball by all means. Again, try not to jump too much. If you're second man, then play passively. Play your cards correctly, because it's more important to defend a ball than it is to shoot a ball and score a ball. Because there's a long time for you to score a ball, and before a ball gets scored, you have an infinite amount of time, right? The game will continue until somebody scores a goal, which means you have as long as it takes to score a goal. You have as long as it takes to defend and defend and defend until you get an opportunity. And there will come games where you just have to defend. Like, you just don't get a say in it. So definitely do that. There's a few small mechanical things, like taking more shots on net, you know, like putting your clears on target and stuff like that. While, like right now at this rank, you have a lot of space. So definitely do that. But yeah, what else would be? Give your enemies and your teammates more space would be the last thing that I would suggest. Give your teammates space to make mistakes, and give your enemy space to give the ball to you. Now, one thing that I like to say to a lot of people is that if you're in the net, the ball is only ever going to come one direction, and that's to your net. It might take 3 minutes, it might take fucking 10 minutes, but eventually the ball will always end up there. That is one constant, is that the ball is going to end up on somebody's net at some point in time. Otherwise the game would never end. So, you know, that's just what happens. So when in doubt, definitely just stay in net. Stay back a little bit further, and give them that space and respect. And yeah, apart from that, a lot of your mechanics are fairly good, fairly consistent. Like boomers like that, really good. But yeah, respect your enemy's space on easy stuff. Respect your enemy space on easy stuff. Let them have. Oh my god, what is this guy's settings? It's like fucking like 90 FOV. Respect your teammates for making whiffs, because it will happen eventually. Don't be afraid to defensively rotate and just wait out a bit of defense. You know, sit in the net, camp the net for a couple of seconds, and try to make aerials count. Any aerial that you go out for, make sure you have a plan for it. Make sure that plan is direct, and make sure it's useful. But apart from that, that's really all that I can give you in terms of this analysis. I hope it helps. If it does help, put a like. If there's anyone else watching this and it helps them, throw a like down as well. I really appreciate it, because it helps YouTube's algorithm from doing dumb stuff. And yeah, and I will, if you really like it, subscribe, and I will see you all on the next analysis video.